What's going on, man?
Oh, what's up, brother?
Uh, well, we've got a pretty fun topic, but before we get to the fun, we kind of dabble quite a bit in video games on our podcasts here, and it's always a recurring theme. We've been kicking the Amico down the road for a long time.
Just like in television has.
Exactly. But I know you've kind of gone all in on the PS5 world, and trying to get some software. Sounds like it hasn't gone so well lately, has it?
Yeah. So, Amazon. Let's have a chat. I ordered two games because they were on super discount sale, especially compared to what I can find them for locally when I can find them. So I ordered Tony Hawk 1 and 2, and I ordered the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. And so far, I've only gotten Tony Hawk, but we've run into a little issue. So, some systems, it's an even bigger issue because they are truly region locked and you can't play software on, your United States PS5 or North American PS5, I should say, because it's an Asian region or whatever region it is. PS5 doesn't have necessarily that problem as far as playing the game. The PS5 is not region locked. It's open so you can play games from any country in the world.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's a little teeny tiny problem when you need to do DLC because the DLC is not region free.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
in this particular, and plus, I just like to have games from the North American region for my collection. I don't know why. I would assume because of availability reasons and stuff, but a lot of games, the value actually changes based on what region it's from. Um, and again, not to say that I'm getting Tony Hawk because I think it's going to be worth $1 billion. Not to say that I'm getting any game because I think it's going to be worth $1 billion. But I like to have my, United States region games for my collection because I do collect and I like them all to be uniform. Um, Amazon, you had listed Tony Hawk, you had a picture of the American or the North American um, region disc. And then I got something that I literally have no idea what region it's from. I'm assuming it's from Europe or from maybe Australia. I really don't know. But it's not right. It's not good.
What's the rating sticker color on it?
It's like a God, I wish it's somewhere in here. I think it's like a blue, but it's a big ass rectangle. And the
Hmm.
problem is that they censor it differently between the different regions too.
Right. Yeah, I knew that.
So
Okay, so yeah, looking at that, it does have the big blue
M.
course language and online interactivity. Is that wow? So it gets that wow. So okay, so let's see. Let's see if we can figure out.
Yeah, because I looked and I can't really find. I looked at a website that had pictures of different regions and stuff. And see, this one, of course, has a printed out sticker over the back. And so, it's just
PEGI, Pan European Game Information. Was that? Yeah, that might be. No.
that would make sense because I think it's in.
Well, I have one of these games. I actually have the Pan European version of Mario and Rabbids for the same exact reason. Picked it up off Amazon, and that's the one I got. But that one works fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Switch games are region free as well.
I don't
So,
see.
AU. So this is Australia.
Okay, I was gonna say because it didn't quite look like the European one.
Yeah, so this is an Australian game. Now, they have different again, they censor it differently based on the different the different regions. And so, look, I don't know what the difference. Maybe there's no difference, but the bottom line is, I bought what was supposed to be the North American version, and I got the Australia version, and it requires download. So I don't know that I'm going to get everything that I'm supposed to get by having this game.
All right, because of the DLC issue.
Right. So that game's got to go back now. And it's just, and I'm hoping that, and it's not the first time I've had that issue, but you know, it, it's just starting to piss me off. The first couple, it's only happened a couple times, but it seems like it's happening more often now. And like, it's not a situation where I expect Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 to be like worth a ton of money, but at the same time, just for my collection, I want it to be
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's part of it. Like,
I don't want the whole thing.
right. You bought the system. You want to get the games that were meant for said system, and then try to at least try to get everything that comes with the game, especially in a game like that, which has been, look, it's we both know it's re-release, but we're talking about a game that's been, out for, in terms of time, like a couple of decades now.
Right.
But it's a re-release double set, and even the double set's been out for a little while now. So you should be able to get everything that you want. I think really the only thing I actually have that game downloaded digital. I don't have a physical, and I think the only thing that I wondered initially was licensing, like music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the only thing that I wasn't 100% certain about. But truth be told, like, I've had no issues playing it, and nothing's bothered me with it. And I played it quite a bit, a few months ago. So if there's anything missing, like, I was unaware, basically.
Right.
So,
and that's the thing too. Like, you know what? Could I sign up for? I checked. I could pay the $22. I think it said I could pay $22 extra for the rest of the year, or to get the next level of PlayStation Plus for the rest of the year.
mm-hmm.
Mine expires, I think, in December, so I would have to wait until December to, or I would have it until December, and then I would have to decide if I wanted to go back to my lower tier, my plebeian tier of PlayStation Plus, or if I wanted to stay at the higher tier. But how we've been talking about physical games. We've made no secret that I love physical games and physical copies of games, and so obviously I want the physical copy.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, man. It just bugs me that Amazon they've gotten so lax in a lot of stuff while they're raising prices on stuff. And I mean, it's the same with everybody. Everybody's trying to charge more for less. But Amazon, as far as the quality control, has really gone downhill, and it's really starting to piss me off. To the point where I'm probably going to cancel Prime in the near future. I'm probably going to wait until The Boys and what is it? Invincible? Yeah. No, is it Invincible? Am I thinking the right one? Yeah, Invincible, the animated series from Seth Rogen with it's a superhero show, but it's really good. And so probably gonna wait till they come back out, and then once I'm done with those seasons, I'm probably canceling Prime, because at this point, like, I had ordered Funko Pops from them in the past, and they come like in these plastic things, like plastic bags essentially, and they're all mashed up. I ordered stuff for Peyton for Christmas, and it comes in, and the boxes are smashed, and like nothing is. And I realized once it leaves but there's been like Lego sets and stuff that I bought for them, and they ship them in the little plastic bags, and then they come and they're smashed. So then I'm trying to wrap this present, and look, my wrapping skills leave a lot to be desired as it is. So like, me trying to wrap a destroyed box just is not, it's not cool. It's not fun. It's not pretty.
Yeah, no, I haven't. I had the one issue with the Rabbids game. And again, that could have been my own fault. I don't know. I just assumed it had the picture of like what any other Switch game I've ever bought was. And I really haven't bought that many from Amazon for that reason, because that was one of the first games I remember getting, for it, at least within the first like year or two, maybe. And when I saw that green sticker on it, I was like, "What is that?"
Right.
Like, and then I realized, oh, this is a different region, but it still played fine. I had no issues with it.
Right.
But still, then it was like, it's different than all my other games. So,
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I know it's such a nitpicky, like first world problem to have, but it just pisses me off, dude. I'm so anal with that stuff where like I've got it like all my Blu-rays and DVDs and stuff when they're out and not packed are in alphabetical order. And then I have to make sure that if it's one where I have the Blu-ray and I have the DVD and they're in separate ones, I put the DVD first and then I put the Blu-ray. And I've got to have that order. It's got to be in alphabetical order. And if it's not, it pisses me off. So one day, my wonderful friend Erin came over while I was away for the weekend, and she was hanging out with Stephanie, and she decided she was going to move some stuff around in it because she knew how bad it would piss me off. So first thing I did, as soon as I got home, I looked over and I was like, somebody messed with my stuff. And I could see like right off the bat, and I'm like, fine, I'm sitting there, and I sat there and I freaking went and redid stuff. Oh, bug the shit out of me. I'm weird like that, man. I don't know. Maybe I
no. I mean, I don't think it's. I remember when I would have things out, I would do the same thing. I'd have them alphabetized. I would whatever, but it's. But no, I totally get it. Like, especially with the wrong region game. It's. I mean, look, you buy a wrong region like movie, unless you have the proper player. Well, let's go back in time here. It won't even work. So.
right.
I mean, this isn't like a far stretch from reality here where stuff is, like you said, it's different because of content that's being blocked, because how Europe and how certain countries in Asia and how Australia and how whoever, they'll get a game title. And even like a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, there may be something there that, they censor that's not censored in the States for whatever reason.
Right.
That's just how their policies are. That's how they run things. I mean, whatever. That's just what it is, but I don't play the American version.
America.
All right. So let's move on here. I want to kind of kick us off into our main topic here. You and I have been really big, Simpsons fans since we were kids. I mean, that show started when we were kids. So this isn't anything that's like, oh, wait, what are we talking about? Like this random stuff of a show that we hardly ever have watched. But this has been something that we literally grew up with.
Right.
And it's still on to this day. And I've made the comment on here before, I really have not watched much of the last like 10, 12 years. I really, really don't have much frame of reference other than maybe a clip or a Halloween show or something. But about a year ago or so, I stumbled into this music artist who was taking his classic Simpsons clips and just making music out of it. And name was Dankmas, and has done all these like random albums just full of Simpsons clip songs. And what I noticed was he's picking stuff that was like basically first 10 seasons. So everything was like really classic, and it got me into, I had introduced my kids to Simpsons before, but really not at any depth. So then over the past year, like really getting into it, but particularly like the first 10 seasons. And then just really finding the humor in some of these episodes that I've loved for a long, long time, that I've seen multiple times, but then like diving in and like really rediscovering these random characters that were in the back of my head, but like, never something, obviously I don't think about every day. And it's like, well, I threw a text out to you last night. I was like, let's do one where we just talk about like our favorite Simpsons characters, like no matter if they're obscure or, like Homer, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I just thought it'd be fun, because there's the universe is so big, the fan base is constantly talking about, how big the Star Wars universe is, or the Lord of the Rings, or those. I don't know that anything holds a candle to The Simpsons.
No.
Quite honestly, it's just ridiculously big.
I mean, look, the Star Wars universe, whatever you want to call it, it's been around for over 40 years now. I think first one came out in what, 77?
Yes.
So it's older than me, which is fucking old. I'll be 43 this year. It is, I think Return of the Jedi is, or no, what is The Empire Strikes Back is turning 40 this year. So like it's been around for a long time. Now, unlike The Simpsons, it's always been around, but it kind of took a lull for a while and kind of laid low, and there was no new Simpson or no new Star Wars properties from around the time that Return of the Jedi came out until you get to the re-releases in the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously we know what happened with the prequels,
Right.
so, which we won't speak of. So it had a good 10-year kind of hiatus almost. It was still in pop culture. Everybody still knew what it was, but it wasn't nearly as popular. The Simpsons, since it came out, it may have dipped in popularity, but it has never stopped putting out content, whether it's new episodes, whether it's a movie, whether it's a video game. There's always something. And honestly, all of our, anybody who grew up between like the mid 80s to the 90s to the early 2000s, whether you like it or not, your life has been affected by The Simpsons in some way, shape, or form.
Oh yeah. I always go back to it. If it wasn't for them, there would be no South Park. There would be no Family Guy. There would be no, and I say that in the sense of the popularity level certainly wouldn't be there.
Right.
Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. There's a lot of cartoons and a lot of very good cartoons that obviously The Simpsons paved the way for.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, there's been episodes of Beavis and Butthead, there's been episodes of Family Guy, there's been that I ultimately find way funnier than many Simpsons episodes. However, from a classical perspective, in terms of animation in our generation, it is really hard to beat that the universe, the characters, the writing, especially early on. You're talking like Conan O'Brien and some of these really famous writers and comedians that did work on the show. So I don't know. That's what kind of made me think. Just there's a lot of different things that kind of spun me back into it, and man, it's amazing. Some of the minor characters, and really, like I said, look, it's hard not to love Homer. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping we go a bit deeper than that, and I don't
we definitely will, because I've got quite a few on here that I know you're going to know, but you're gonna be like, really, you like them?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about. So, all right, let's kick it off, man. I'm curious to see who you've got. Let's do a couple on yours.
Let's start with the first one, and we actually kind of discussed this one, I think through text, and it's Yes Guy, and he's been in a handful of episodes, but the very first episode and the line that I always come back to is, "Yes, yes, I had a stroke."
Yeah, Homer going, "Why do you talk like that?"
So I'll always come back to that. That's one of my just random ass favorite characters. So
yeah, and it's funny because you brought him up last night. I went back and I started watching clips, and that line came up first, front and center, and then the Spanish one, see. And it's so funny because several different episodes where that guy pops up, and there's one where he's on the phone with somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but he's like, no, like he's talking very normal, and he's like, yes. But yeah, no, it's such a good one, and then I think what makes it funnier too is the way his facial expressions.
Yes,
it's just so out there. Yeah. Oh, but that's a good classic character, man. You said that one, I was like, yes, exactly what I'm thinking of. Going into one of the ones I thought about, the episode, and I think this is the I think it's the Hank Scorpio episode where Homer, they all move.
I
And
completely forgot about Hank Scorpio.
yeah, and I wasn't even gonna name him as like because I like the character, but like I
Yeah.
was thinking of somebody else, like in that episode. So Bart and Lisa go to new school, and like Bart gets stuck in, I think it's like a remedial class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all of the kids at the new school. So the one kid, like Gordy, like, I moved here from Canada and they think I'm slow, eh? You know, like it's so good. And then you have the other kid, he's got like the Freddy Krueger shirt on.
Yeah.
He's like, I start fires. And then the girl that's sitting at the table is basically Ralph Wiggum with a wig, which is just fantastic. I mean, it's so good. So that whole like little scenario, and I believe that's the only time they ever show up.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you're talking like a 15-20 second clip.
Right.
But it's just so good. But yeah, that episode too is the Hank Scorpio episode, which, my goodness, what a fantastic character he is.
Oh, it really is. And just there's so much to love from that episode, like where Homer's discussing his leadership style. He's like it's something like, well, I get them to work harder with the promise of donuts and more donuts to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Can you guys work harder?
sure thing, Homer.
Such a good one.
Sure thing, Mr. Simpson.
Mr. Simpson, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you got, man? Who's next?
I'm throwing up Artie Ziff.
Oh, nice.
And Artie Ziff, specifically just because he's so fucking creepy, and also John Lovitz, which, hey, you know, if you're gonna put a creepy guy in, you put John Lovitz. But the scene where he's in the closet and he's singing "Sweet Dreams Are Made of These," he's like, "I am watching you from the closet." So that's you know, I had to throw that shit in there.
Oh, good old Artie Ziff, man. That's a longtime character. And yeah, John Lovitz. And what's funny though, because John Lovitz actually had shown up as the critic.
Yes.
On The Simpsons, which I always thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I've got to go with one of my all-time favorites. Again, as far as I know, only a one-episoder. But Mr. Monorail himself, Lyle Lanley.
Yes. I actually, so on my notes, I just put Phil Hartman.
Yeah. Oh yeah, let's talk Phil Hartman, because
yeah.
So you've got Lyle Lanley, you've got Troy McClure, you've got Lionel Hutz. I mean, look, there's so many iconic characters. And rest his soul. I mean, Phil Hartman died at a very young age, and honestly,
terrible way.
And honestly, really oddly enough, very early in the Simpsons run, if you think about it, comparative to how long the show's been on.
Yeah.
But just a fantastic actor. Absolutely. Yeah. Those characters though, man, I don't know. He's hard to beat.
Yeah, he really is. And the monorail episode that you mentioned, you know, that's one of my I'd say top 5 episodes of all time. It's so good. It's just, you got Leonard Nimoy showing up and potentially actually being Mr. Spock instead of actually being Leonard Nimoy. You got the monorail song. Just everything about it is just so good.
And the whole, like, there's a lot of great lines in that. You know, that's where the donuts, is there anything they can't do, line comes from.
Yeah.
Because that's after he saves it by, you know, throwing the big M through with the lasso and hooking it in like an anchor.
Yeah.
But no, it's so good. The thing I always thought was funny too. It's like I built them in North Haverbrook, Ogdenville, blah 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 blah. And he's on the plane with like the Lyle Lanley's on the plane with the briefcase full of money, and they're having to take a detour, and he's like, "Oh no!" And the citizens of the town come and pummel him. It's such a good one though. But now Phil Hartman just lended his voice to so many great characters of the show, and Yeah, that's I don't know. Just yeah, rest in peace, Phil.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, let's talk real quick since we're talking about him. Just like iconic roles, not only on that, on news radio, on Saturday Night Live, just in general, just a great actor, a great comedic actor. The character of oh fuck, what's it? Zap Brannigan on Futurama was supposed to be voiced by Phil Hartman. He was designed and basically created for Phil Hartman to play that role.
Right.
And then obviously, he didn't wasn't able to fulfill that, but like that was he's left not only an indelible mark on the Simpsons, but on future projects that Matt Groening did,
Yeah.
So
Phil Hartman died in 1998.
right.
Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
But yeah, his Simpsons work was, like we said, Lionel Hutz, Troy McClure. They were basically his big ones.
Right.
Really, really kind of hard to get, kind of past that. But as you said, yeah, he, was all chimed up to be part of Futurama.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sucks. Like I, boy, he had so much left to give, and especially in that universe of The Simpsons, man. It's
Right.
yeah, it definitely sucks.
All right.
All right.
Let's go. I'm gonna go with one Mr. Well, I shouldn't say Mr. I should say Dr. Nick.
Good old doctor. Hey, everybody.
Hey, Dr. Nick. Just a classic, just quack character. Dude, anytime he's on screen, I'm laughing at some point.
Let me look. I gotta think. I gotta look a couple of these up, man, because some of his quotes are so good. Okay, so here's one where Smithers, after he gets stung by a bee, and Dr. Nick goes, "Holy smokes, you need booze." It's the one where he's Smithers is on the bike with Burns, and he gets stung by the bee in the face, and Burns is like, "Push harder, man, push harder." And they finally get to the hospital, and the bike falls over, and they get Stretcher Burns in, and Smithers is just lying there, and Dr. Nick, "Yeah, holy smokes, you need booze."
Yeah, he's just such a good character. And a bit player, but every scene he's in, he steals.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Again, he's one of those weird characters that he's not ever on in any episode for more than a few seconds, but throws out a great one or two lines and is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go with a couple. I'll do a couple here. I'll do it, obviously more known and then kind of an unknown, but they're related. So I'm going to have to go with Milhouse and then his dad. Because Kirk Van Houten is just, I don't know.
What a fucking train wreck.
Oh my goodness. And if you look at like some of his famous lines, like I sleep in a racing car, do you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
dude, all right, since we're talking about that, we got to talk about something. He and God, why can't I remember her name? The mother, Mrs. Van Houten. They got to be related, right?
Yeah, I always thought that was kind of funny with The Simpsons, because you had like certain characters like that looked identical.
Right. Like they look identical. The Wiggumses.
Yeah, the Wiggums looked identical. Yeah, because like it's just weird how that and really, if you start pairing people off, like Marge and Homer, pretty much polar opposites.
Yeah,
as far as how they are, like body type and whatever. But yeah, like body types are the same for both Van Houtens. They're both the same for the Wiggums. The almost identical facial features. It is weird.
So, I mean, it makes sense as to why Ralph is like borderline, helmet worthy. And then Milhouse has all the medical problems.
Yeah, he does.
Their parents are related.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're not wrong. I don't think there's any debate there. Uh, but so good though. Like Kirk, it just has a lot of good ones, and obviously Millhouse. I mean, the
Everything's coming up, Millhouse.
yeah, that's got to be, look, anyone's a fan of The Simpsons, that's a top 10 line of anybody.
Yeah.
And even if you're not a fan of The Simpsons, I've heard that that's thrown around quite a lot. Just with anything.
Right.
All right. So who are you thinking of next?
So I've got a couple characters on here. I've got, as far as characters, I mean, I didn't put any of the main characters because I wanted to go with like more the little known. But I figured we'll get through these ones and then go through yours, and then we can kind of dig in on the bigger characters and maybe some quotes that we use or specific episodes. So I've got, as far as little bit characters, Cletus.
Oh yeah, I've got him too.
Yeah,
I mean, Cletus the slack-jawed yokel. Yeah, and all of his kids.
yeah, and all of his kids. Yeah, dude, there's amazing characters. It's I love it. And then Bart ends up falling in love with one of them in one of the episodes.
Oh yeah,
he falls in love with one of Cletus's daughters, and somehow she's like the least like inbred one of them, and certainly less inbred than fucking Millhouse or Ralph.
And you've got Cletus, which I always forget this. I always know it was Cletus the slack-jawed yokel because of the song.
Yeah.
But his full name is Cletus Spuckler.
Yes, Cletus Spuckler. Cletus Spuckler. So I'll give you one more, and this one's kind of a cheat because it's two. Rod and Todd.
Oh yes.
I don't want any damn vegetables. Oh God, they're so good because they're so lame, but they'll every once in a while come up with something like that just out of nowhere that you're like, get the fuck no.
Yeah, the banter is so good too. Like that's the crazy thing, because like you said, they're so lame. There's not a whole lot really going on there, but the some of the quotes, and this again, I go back to them too, like the facial expressions, because they're so boring. It doesn't take much for them to be funny.
Yeah.
So like anytime there's just like, it's because it's a dumb line, but it's like, oh, it's so good. Yeah, they're good.
All right, who else you got?
All right. I'm gonna go with Jasper.
Ooh, good one.
He's he's the old man, obviously, with the long beard. Actually, I had to look up because I didn't know his name. It's Jasper. Jasper. I knew Jasper, obviously, but it's Jasper Beardley, which makes a lot of sense. Did not know that, so I learned that. But that's the guy, and I always think about that one episode when they all the teachers are on strike. That's a paddling.
That's paddling.
Oh, you better believe that's a paddling.
I like the old man dancer. The old man dancers. Oh, great he ain't much use.
Oh man, and he's the guy that gets stuck in the freezer.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so good. No, if I remember correctly too, wasn't he in the Who Shot Mr. Burns ones where he takes a shot in the leg, but he's got a prosthetic?
Yes. Yeah, he's got the wooden leg.
Yeah. No, I always liked his character, and I just, one of those things where he subs in the school, man, that paddling stuff, man, I lose it every time.
Yeah.
Well, you better believe that's a paddling.
He reminds me no, and then in the credits of that episode, they were doing the credits, and then he's going through and he's like, Yep, you're getting to paddling.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's
getting
right.
paddling.
Yep, that's right.
But speaking of him, what about Hans Mole Man?
Oh, dude, yeah, I have him too on this. Man. All right, so I've got. You'll have to go through one of your. Do you have any good Hans Ullman lines? Because I've got one.
Dude, other than no, because he didn't even say that. I was gonna say other than we're cold and frightened, but that was Grandpa Simpson.
Mhm.
So I can't think of any Mole Man lines off the top of my head, but I just every time I see him, I fucking laugh.
Oh, he's the best. I mean, obviously, I think his fame came from the man getting hit by football.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the character really took off. But the one thing I remembered, I took this down as a note last night, and I rewatched the scene too because it's just so funny. But he's talking with Reverend Lovejoy, and Reverend Lovejoy goes, "All right, Hans, time to go." And Hans looks over at Homer and goes, "But he ate my last meal." And Reverend Lovejoy goes, "If that's the worst thing that happens to you today, consider yourself lucky." Hans goes, "Are you really allowed to execute people in a local jail?" Reverend Lovejoy goes, "From this point on, no talking." And it's so good.
Oh my god.
It's just
Dude.
it's I don't know, like just watching the little clips too, and I watched that one last night. It was like, oh, this is just amazing.
Yeah. So fucking good.
Yeah, he's a good one. But it's funny, he shows up quite a bit. Not in every episode. But he's one of those, I think after the football bit with him, he just was one that would show up more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was written in, and they're like, oh, we got to find ways to make this character more prevalent because everyone loves him.
And he was one that actually underwent a skin color change because
Because he was a lot darker earlier on.
Yeah, and I know Smithers, it was an accident or something like that, or I don't remember if it was an accident or if once they realized they were going to make him gay, they didn't want him to be gay and black to be like a complete token character, but he and Smithers were both
They were both darker skin. It was weird. It was a shade of brown that was a little bit lighter than Apu.
Yeah.
Initially.
Right.
And then but it's weird though, if you look back at some of those really early episodes though, not just with skin color, but there's some clothing color, like oddities too. I always chalk that up to they were struggling trying to get some of these. Obviously computers make things a lot easier now. I know when that show started, I remember hearing things like it would take months to finish one episode,
right?
Because of all the animation and whatever else that went into it. And so I can understand there, shortcuts being made with certain colors not matching at times. So, but all right. Yes, definitely up on Mole Man. He's a classic. All right, so I'm going to go a little bit more, maybe one episoder here with Mr. Black.
Mr. Black.
Mr. Black, yeah. Krusty's bestest buddy in the whole wide world. And when he introduces himself, he goes, "For the past 15 years, I was president of Euro Krusty Land until it blew up." Oh, man. What's so good, though, like, he, again, deadpan, there's really nothing there. He's not supposed to be funny.
Right.
But, man, I just love it. Like,
well, and that episode, it was a good episode, but it was funny to me that they based a video game off of a one episode concept that has never been mentioned again.
Yeah, and what game was that be?
That would be The Simpsons Escape from Camp Krusty.
Yeah. Which is insane, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think it was wasn't it like 2 or 3 years after the episode aired that they even released the game, and it was only on Game Boy.
Yeah. Anyway, there it was. It's I just looked it up. The Simpsons, Bart Simpson's Escape from. They actually call it Camp Deadly, but it's the same. Same thing. Say exactly the same thing because obviously Camp Krusty was not very friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird though. You're right though. Like they basically have this Game Boy only game that is basically derivative of, I guess it's derivative of that episode. It has to be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine it's unless
Or
they
unless they or
really
they
have.
took the or went the other way.
Yeah, it could be the other way.
Well, I'm
Actually,
looking this up now. I'm out of curiosity because okay, here's the funny thing. So that game came out in North America in November of '91. So let's see here. Simpsons Camp Krusty episode. This was an early episode. It's season 4.
it lines up around the
Maybe
right.
this one worked the other way. Okay, wow. So you're very close. It's weird. So maybe this worked the other way. So the Camp Krusty episode was September of '92.
So,
So maybe it did derive off the game.
yeah, because I'm wondering too, like, because that's, dude, I feel like that's one of those Mandela effect things. Because I mean, although I'm also old and my only experience playing that game was like one time for 5 minutes on the bus. Somebody brought their Game Boy to school.
Yeah, I never played it, and
So, but I could have sworn it was Escape from Camp Krusty, but it makes more sense to
yeah,
me.
it's I would and here's the funny thing too. It's very possible based on the release timing that both were being worked on simultaneously, and the writers had their hands in
Yeah.
both. They had to have. But that's interesting though. I forgot all about that game. Um, and that's probably the only time we'll ever talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I
Because we've talked Bart versus the Space Mutants on our bracket of bad stuff, and just video games in general, and I'm sure that'll come up again. We've talked Simpsons arcade game
yeah.
many a times, and I'm sure that'll come up again. This game's a kind of an unknown. I don't know much about it,
Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
so I don't know. But yeah, Mr. Black's definitely up there for me.
Mr. Black. And that fucking Dank Mouse or Dankmas song is stuck in my head now.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. All right, so I'm gonna go with, and this is where I start to get a little bit more, without being main cast, I get a little bit more main character-y,
Okay.
with Kent Brockman and Groundskeeper Willie.
Oh, both are just. I mean, Ken Brockman's amazing, especially the way when he never doesn't fully realize that he's live on camera.
Yes.
Those scenes, yeah.
So, I mean, the two of them at varying times have been like my favorite characters, like favorite side characters. We always use I for one welcome our new line. Like
Yes.
that's the line that always gets used. There's so much there. There's so much material. And Willie, like when the kids are stuck and he's like, grease me up, I'm going in.
Going in.
Like
Their one Treehouse of Horror where he's trying to save him every time, and he takes an axe to the back.
yeah.
Oh, it's so good. No, he's and it's great too because he's in a lot of episodes. He's I know he's a side character, but my goodness, he in the cartoon world gets a lot of screen time.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, outside of Skinner, might be the most prominent person out of the school.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, to me anyway.
Yeah.
I think Groundskeeper Willie is more identifiable than going back to obviously Edna and Lunch Lady Doris and some of the other ones.
Yeah, Chalmers.
Yeah, Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Super Nintendo Chalmers. I really at some point I want someone to make me a Super Nintendo Chalmers. I know you've seen that.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh,
I really want someone I will buy all the supplies. I just need somebody artistically talented enough to recreate that Super Nintendo Chalmers.
Yeah, those are so good. I certainly would have no idea where to begin. It's like, can you just wrap this for me?
Hey, you know what? That's actually a good idea. Is maybe if we could print out that picture. Nah, that won't work. That'd be really cool. I would love a custom Super Nintendo Chalmers.
I'm gonna go with a really obscure character for the fact that is only on, for as far as I know, is only on screen for like maybe 15 seconds and never shows up again. Is the robotic Richard Simmons?
I can't believe I forgot about robotic Richard Simmons. Holy shit, what a great gag that was.
Oh, it's so good. And then I think they actually have like, is it that episode or something else they do like an outtake of? I can't remember. There's something that they reference it in, but because maybe it's that one where he shoots him and his eye folds back in like the Terminator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's so good though. I absolutely love that character.
Yeah.
I remember like when I was younger, the first time I saw that episode, like that was my favorite part of that episode, and I thought that was the greatest Simpsons character that ever been aired.
Yes. Dude, you're not wrong. It was so, oh my God, it was so good. That was so damn good.
That was one of my favorites. I'm going to do another one real quick here. And one that's more mainstream and but again throws out so many good one-liners. At times, Disco Stew.
Oh, Disco Stew doesn't advertise.
Exactly. There you go. That's exactly the line I had.
Yeah. I love it. And that whole character came out of a throwaway fucking joke.
Yep. Oh, so good.
I mean, how that's how great these writers are. They took a throwaway fucking joke and turned it into a character that endures today.
Yeah.
That, but everybody fucking loved it, so they had to bring it back.
Oh yeah. I love Disco Stew, man, and the whole platforms with dead fish.
Yeah. Fucking Disco Stew. I mean, but let's look at some of the characters they've done like that. Like, all right, it's Disco Stew. Duffman. Duffman could have been like a one-off character, but they managed to actually give him a backstory and like Barry Duffman. Like he could have just been this one-note joke, and they actually managed to give him depth. And like it's so fucking good. Comic book guy, Jeff Anderson.
Yeah.
Which Jeff Anderson, holy shit, that's the dude from Clerks.
Yeah, that's not weird.
I wonder if that's on purpose.
It's good. No, maybe.
I wonder if that's on purpose. Now, I never put two and two together.
Oh no! Hold on, you're close. It's Jeff Albertson.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I was going to say because that's really weird. Then.
Yeah. All right.
Wow, but it's funny. He didn't get his name until season 16.
Right, and how since what, like season 2, 3?
Yeah, he's early.
And he doesn't get a name besides comic book guy until fucking like 15 years later. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing. Like a lot of the later episodes, they would take these sub characters and wrap whole episodes around them for backstory purposes. And that's part of the stuff that I've missed over time because I hadn't watched a lot of it. Because they can do that,
right?
They
were originally going to. There was a point where they were either going to end The Simpsons and spin off into a new show called like Tales from Springfield or something like that, and it was gonna like each episode would basically revolve around a random ass background character that they had, or they were just going to spin it off and continue The Simpsons too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why they started like giving a little bit of background and developing just these random ass characters, because that's what they were thinking of doing. Obviously they changed their minds, but that, I mean, that in and of itself, the fact that you could start a whole nother series with just your background character
exactly
says something about the show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So let's start, I guess, digging in a little bit on like I'm honestly Ralph Wiggum.
Oh yeah, he's on mine too.
He, so many good fucking quotes. Go banana, which I say all the time. Go banana. Me fail English, that's impossible. You know, there's so many from his dad, Chief Wiggum, bake them away, toys. You know, like, and that's some good fluting, boy. I say that shit all the time. Like, there's so many good lines, so many good one-liners. That's where I saw the leprechaun. He told me to burn stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, you choose me, and
Cat's
there's a picture of a train.
brain. My cat's breath smells like cat food.
Right. Like, there's just Jesus. I mean, so many episodes.
Yeah,
Or so
he's
many.
on my list, and probably for me, and I would have called Ralph a main character. I know
Yeah.
he's not a Simpson, but because obviously he's so popular, because of this crap that comes out of his mouth. Yeah, he's one of my all-time favorites. I mean,
Yeah.
just you can't get by Ralph.
I mean, hell, the Bloodhound Gang wrote a song just using his
Exactly.
like it's a you can't escape him.
No. I'm gonna go with one that's one off, but kind of I guess comes back around being mentioned is Frank Grimes. We have to talk about Frank Grimes.
Oh, grimy.
Because
That's what he likes.
I'm Homer Simpson.
He preferred to be called grimy.
Grimy, yeah. You gotta talk about Grimes. I mean, that whole episode's fantastic, and
And then his son, Frank Grimes Jr.
yeah, yeah, and really, as far as characters go, is probably it's top 5 for me. It's got to be. Just absolutely. I want to talk some like main ones with you, but then I'm going to finish it off with like someone that's really obscure. There's no way you're thinking about him, and
Him or her?
it'll be a he.
A he. Okay, because I was what was the one I was watching? Oh no, it was a fucking Dankmas song. Thank you. The one with what was Kim Basinger's character? Fuck. Because
because she was early on too. She's
Yeah.
like season 9 or 10.
because that dude, the dude from the hotel in that, where he's like, "Oh, I've upgraded you to the lover's suite, so you can," and then he starts making all the like,
Oh, that guy, yeah.
yeah, fucking that dude.
Does she
That-
not play herself in that? Yeah, she plays herself. That's why.
No. She played some. No, she was like, fuck. What was her name?
Oh, she has a different name.
Yeah, she has a different name. She was. She probably plays herself at some point too. Maybe I'm wrong on who it was then.
Yeah, I was gonna say because she shows up in an episode as herself. Yeah, she does, and it's in season 10.
So I wonder who the fuck that was.
Yeah, that's the episode where it's like her and Alec Baldwin,
Okay,
and they show up as themselves. Yeah.
I'm thinking of the episode where Homer gets to go. He gets to go to the. They go to the thing in Capital City, and he's attracted to this girl, and she's attracted to him. And then
Is that? Yeah. Oh, and her name is Mandy.
Mandy. Yeah,
Yes.
or Mindy.
Mindy.
Or Mandy. I don't remember. I think it's Mindy because Homer loves
Mindy. Yeah, Last Temptation of Homer.
Yeah.
Mindy Simmons.
Yes, Mindy. That's what it was. That dude that show
Michelle Pfeiffer. That's who did it.
Michelle Pfeiffer. Okay.
Okay.
But
You were on the right track, and I
Yeah.
would have not even. Yeah.
she was in one of the first 2 Batman movies. So
Yep.
but dude, no, that episode was fantastic, and that so all right, so I'm gonna go with Homer because it's fucking Homer, dude.
Homer's hard to beat.
Yeah, I mean, the fingers you. Well, this one was him, but he didn't say it, but it's related to him. The fingers you use to dial are too fat for this phone. To obtain a special dialing wand, mash the keypad with your hand. I'll fat finger stuff at work, and I'll do that, and I'll say that like, because I need a dialing wand.
Match the keypad with your hand.
Yeah. When one of my favorite songs of all time. Guess I forgot to put the fog lights in. I'll just randomly fucking sing that. I'll be sitting at work, do that. I'll be sitting in the car, and I'll be like, I don't know, I got to turn the lights on. Oh, guess I forgot to put the fog lights in. Save me, Jeebus. How many times a
Yes.
day do we say
I
Jeebus?
know. I know.
Like, but the two that will always stick out to me. I am so smart. I am so smart. SMRT. And then, oh, look at me. I'm making people happy. I live in a gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. In case you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic.
Yes, oh yeah, and it's almost to the point where his character of all cartoons of all time quite possibly would end up as being the most iconic, most memorable. Really, seriously. I mean,
Yeah.
just really hard to beat. Which is funny because the show was initially wrapped around Bart.
Right.
You
And
know,
Bart, to his credit, has still had some of the best moments, but Homer has taken over. And I think it goes to show as the writers and as the audience kind of grew up with the show, the focus changed from Bart to the parent,
yeah, yep,
and so I think that that's a lot of the evolution of the show has to do with the people who make it and the people who watch it growing up.
yeah,
But the nice part about it is it's still, you can go back and show, like I've been showing Peyton on Disney Plus. Like, all right, let's go back to the beginning. Let's start watching. And then we'll start we'll watch. And even now, like some of the jokes I have to explain because it's like, so like with telephones and shit, like
yeah.
why
It's
is
a bit
that
dated,
attached?
yeah,
But like a lot of the humor is evergreen.
yeah,
And that's what's so great about it.
yeah. Do you have any more main characters? Because I've got one. I've got a small, very minor one to finish us off here.
I mean, Mr. Burns, but you're not. I mean, there's not much to say about Mr. Burns.
No,
If you know the show, you know Mr. Burns, and I don't know. I really don't know what I could say that would do him any kind of credit. Or do him any justice. Same with Bart. Bart's the main character, and the only thing I have left is a couple quotes and a couple episodes that I thought stood out. So, but do you have any more quotes or episodes or anything that you want to spit out?
I just the only quotes I have are going to come with the character.
So, well, let's talk. All right. So, there's been a couple times when they've shown Bart in the future, and so the one was where he got super fat and he's sitting in the tub and he goes, "I wash myself with the rag on a stick." So, like, you can't beat that. The one where he's a stripper and he's
Oh
like,
yeah,
he's got the cowboy. He's like, he has the finger guns. Like, whenever they show Bart in the future, I'm in because I'm laughing my ass
dude.
off.
Yeah, you're right. Those are great. Those are great.
And then, of course, perfectly cromulent. You can't not mention that.
Yeah.
The episode where Bart switches out the hymn that they're supposed to play at church with Inagata Defeated by Iron Butterfly. And now we will hear In the Garden of Eden by Iron Butterfly. And Marge goes, "Homie, remember when we used to make out to this?" So I mean that's what I've got for quotes, and then episodes. Obviously, the Stonecutters.
Oh yeah,
You can't.
the Patrick Stewart character is fantastic.
Right. You can't not love the Stonecutters. And then a later episode that I just really liked was the Party Posse.
Yeah, and we've talked about it here too. The last Treehouse of Horror was really really good.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed that. So they do, and like I said, I haven't watched a whole lot in the last 10, 12, whatever years of what they've put out. But what I have seen has been good. It's just, when it's weird. That show for me, I think because there's so much classic content to watch in the first 10, 12, 15 seasons, whatever, it's really hard for me to be like, yeah, I think I'm going to watch this new stuff. You know what I mean?
And you know what? I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Sea Captain.
Oh, yeah.
So he's given me a line that I use all the time. Yar, I'm not attractive.
All right. So I'm going to finish this one up here then. And really, one of the reasons why I thought about even doing this. So just watch this episode again. And I just. Vincent Price.
Oh, fuck you.
You should
I
know the
can't
grave
believe-
could never tame me.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
And then at the end of that episode, whenever Mad and Summer all are going over the highlights of the episode,
Yeah.
and then Vincent Price pulls up. All aboard, boys! I've been waiting for you. Oh, quiet, Jody. You're not helping.